Hello and welcome to our special of today. 300 subscribers. Wow. Well, first of all, thank you all again for subscribing, for following this channel. I hope you really enjoy it and that you are having a good time with my videos and that you are learning a lot. So, when I put this Q&A announcement, I expected maybe, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 questions. Actually, there have been a lot of messages in the comment section, and I have to confess I haven't really read any of them yet, because I wanted just to go at them on the fly, so to speak. So, well, let's take a look and let's see what you guys want to know. Remo keep in coming. You may go some videos and maybe you have. Oh, yes. Actually, the jump of subscribers comes from jingles for sure, and I didn't notice it at first. I was told I had been subbed by him, and I was like, what? Now things start falling in their place. Because 2 days ago this channel was at, I don't know, 160 subscribers, and suddenly we are at 300. So thank you very much, Ingles. You really helped me a lot. Harlequin, thanks for the video. What do you think of historical battles? How would you change the setup? Well, first of all, I think that historical battles should be in different like simultaneous historical battles. Right now there is just one ongoing, and that one is on for maybe days in a row, and it's always the same map, the same nations, and lately has been mostly the Soviet Union versus Germany, and that's actually a little bit underwhelming because there are a lot of people who enjoy historical battles, but they can't fly British or Japanese fighters in there. So first of all, what way I will change would be simultaneously. Put 2 different maps to select what you do want to play, and then you can play mostly anything you want. Secondly, I think the setup of the historical battles is pretty good. I mean, it's still somewhat relaxed realism. The flight models are quite different. Not the flight models, the control system is very different from arcade, and you can really feel it. There's no target lead indicator, so shooting is much more difficult. You have to actually land to rearm, which is actually pretty good because no one is going to be spamming the trigger button. Actually, I think the setup itself is very good. What I don't really like about this is that it's just one ongoing battle for maybe a week, and it's 2 nations. What about the other 3? That's the only problem I see with it. CRD3001. What's your favorite plane of the game? Oh, well, that's the favorite plane of the game and of history. That's the Focke-Wulf 190 on any of its variants. I love the Antons, I love the Fs, I love the Doras, I love the TA-152. It's just a plane that always has inspired me, has always attracted me a good deal, and of course that shows because if I have the chance to fly German, it's the plane of choice. I'm going to fly a 190. Christopher Yonemitsu. Hi RunGB, what is the best fighter plane, most fun to play in your opinion, and why? In my opinion. Well, let's get started by saying that my opinion should differ from many others, and it's normal that it does so because each player has a different set of, first of all, has different favorite fighters just for historical reasons or for sentimental reasons. Maybe you are British and you like Spitfires, maybe you are Japanese, you like Zeros, maybe you are German and you like Focke-Wulf 190s, or maybe you are just an aficionado like I am, which at a very young age discovered a plane and just fall in love with it. As such, the best fighter for me is the 190. It has limitations, it's not really flexible in most situations. It's mostly a boom and thumb plane when I actually think it should be an energy fighter. But well, I like it. So it's the most fun to play because I love the plane. As for fun to play in like going down into a massive dogfight and destroying enemies like mad, there's little competition to the Zero. There's very little competition with the Japanese Zero. Almost none at all. I mean, that thing turns on a dime. And it's well armored. I would say the Ki 43 is also very fun, but lacks firepower. That's very fun as well. But as in my opinion, for me the best fighter is going to be always a 190, because actually it fits my way of flying. Since I started flying in online simulators, the plane of choice was the 990, and I learned to fly with that plane, so just fits me like a ring. Whitman 25, please shut up and keep playing. Just thank us people when you get 1k. Well, man, when I get 1k, this is going to be big. So, well, the please shut up. I differ. I want to make something special because I think 300 is a big number. Mephistopheles, thank you for the videos, RunGB. You have some crazy flying skill. Well, it's years of practice. It's years of practice. It's nothing else. Thibaut G2, hi RunGB, sub to congratulations. Yeah, well, I really hope I hit 1000. It will be a dream for me. I'm super glad that your flying has improved really after watching my videos. It's what this channel is for. The question: what's the best method you know for getting a plane off your sticks? Also, I'm waiting for more tactics style videos. Well, the tactics videos are coming, so don't worry about that. Best method for getting a plane off your sticks depends on the plane. If you are in a Zero, you just turn very close, and sooner or later you are going to take him off. In most other planes, just be unpredictable. Do something that the other guy doesn't expect, because the key to turn the tables on someone that's behind you is basically to force him to overshoot you, to pass you and get him into your front quarters so you can shoot at him. And the best way to make someone overshooting is to surprise him, to catch him off guard, to make him feel confident and suddenly find he's pretty much screwed. So just be unpredictable, pull anything, any trick you have up your sleeve, and don't always do the same thing. Just if you try one evasive maneuver and you see that guy is following, just fall out of that maneuver and try something completely different, because that's going to cut him off guard. Well, you will see more of this in the tactic videos, don't worry, but right now the best advice I can give you is this: just be unpredictable. Luskyman, couple questions. Will you cover bombers and other planes as well in the near future? That's a good question. I feel at home at fighters, and I think, let's see, the purpose of this channel is to teach people how to fly in the game. If you learn how to fly a fighter, you are going to know how to fly a bomber. So the focus is on fighters and fighter bombers. Will I do any video on bombers? Yeah, probably. It's down the line. For now, I'm just focusing on fighters for the reasons I stated. I want to make people to understand how fighters work and how to fight in a World War II plane. Also, this is good for bombers because they also can understand how fighters are going to go for them, because if you can be more on the lookout of which planes are a threat and which others are not. As for the videos, yes, I will be doing some on bombers, but it's not going to be so in depth as in fighters, because first of all, I don't use them that much. Second of all, they aren't that exciting. I mean, for me, going in a bomber is just going the highest you can to avoid most enemy fighters and to snipe off ground targets. So I don't think that makes for a really great gameplay. But yes, I most probably do some videos about bombers. Second question: what do you know about country-related advantages, Japanese turn speed, and which tier do these countries sign? Well, Japanese, as you say, turn very well. British fighters turn very well. They are also good energy fighters, not good woman thumbers. Soviet Union right now is broken. I mean, it's not that it's broken; it's that no Soviet plane has its historical flight model. So what they do right now, well, accelerate like bats, turn like demons, run like guepards, cheetahs, and they do it all, and they do it well. And LA 5 FM, for instance, does everything. It turns, it accelerates, it dives. It's just FM that's not in place. And then Germans and the Americans are mostly Bumanzum fighters. Germans have a little more variety because the 109 line is more energy fighting, and the Focke-Wulf 180 is more of a Bumanzum plane. The US is all of them are Bumanzumers. There's no exception. All of them sign at Bumanzuming, and they are not that really good at other styles of fighting. Next one. Kai R C Kai E. Hey, where did you accumulate your piloting skills, knowledge about aviation physics and combat tactics? Have you played sims like IL-2 or Battleground Europe before? Are you maybe a hobby pilot yourself in real life? Well, in order. I started flying virtually when I was 8 years old. In the mid-80s, in the times of the Spectrum and the Amstrad, I got an Amstrad, and I got, as a present from my parents, a game. They didn't know what they were buying. They just bought a playing game. They thought it would be simple for me. Actually, turned that for the day it was a pretty advanced thing. I mean, to do well in that game, you had to learn the bulk tags included in my 100 subscriber special. And since then, it has been a continuous interest in the genre. I've flown helicopter simulators, I've flown a lot of flight simulators, online flight simulators since year 2000, more or less. And where did I learn all of this? Actually, in SS High. SS High is a multiplayer game created by the same team that before created a legendary multiplayer online flight simulator called Warbirds. I just happened to find this game. It was free to play at the moment because it was in beta. Later it was, you paid a monthly amount to play it, and it was super hardcore. I mean, that was the first actual hardcore simulator I stumbled upon, and at first I struggled a lot. I didn't understand why I was killed all the time, because the guys who were there were long times veteran of this kind of thing. They were flying Warbirds before that was as hardcore as SSI was. So what happened was that I got to be friends with one of the pilots in SS Sky, which was a very good pilot, and basically he started teaching me everything. And I got this kind of, not interest, addiction to the simulation, to the flight, to online fighting. And I started looking for sources of information like mad, from anywhere in the internet, books. Also I was studying physics at the time. I have 3 full courses of college physics done, so I actually was very prone to understanding it very well. So it just was a learning process that started when I was a kid and really got into full gear when I started flying SS Sky. Your second question is, have you played sims like IL-2 or Battleground Europe? Battleground Europe? No, I haven't. IL-2, I could go on and on about that thing. Yes, I flew it, and also Forgotten Battles once the modern community started pumping out new flight models. IL-2 was an work of art. Was an amazing game. Was amazing in every sense of the word, but it just not lacked. It was just crippled by just one guy who was the same guy who created it, Oleg Maddox. The guy simply didn't want to put proper flight models into the game. Soviet planes were overperforming around the world, and German fighters were totally crippled. And my favorite plane, the Focke-Wulf Any, was an absolute utter piece of rubbish. You couldn't do anything in that plane. It was simply crippled. And for a long time I just struggled to try to make my voice be heard in the UB forums, but it was just a mess. It was a civil war. It was flame fest all around, and I simply quit. I simply called it quits and just let it alone for a while. Afterwards, when Forgotten Battles was cracked and the community could start pumping out proper flight models for the planes, I came back and I had a good time. But it took 4 years, almost since the release of IL-2 until that point. So I have a very sour taste of IL-2. I think it was an amazing opportunity to put something amazing in the simulated world, because the immersion was so amazing. The graphics were gorgeous. The 3D models were astounding. It was perfect, but just one guy that didn't want it to make it really perfect. So well. And for your last question, are you maybe a hobby pilot yourself in real life? No, I don't have any license for flying. I have done so a couple of times. I have flown a couple of Cessnas with a friend who was a pilot, and he just passed me the controls, and I was able to take off and fly and land in one of the times, and at the other one I was able to take off, fly, but not land because there was a very strong crosswind, and of course that requires a little more handling, and he landed it. But actually it's in my plans to get to be a private pilot, just for the sake of it, because I love flying in virtual simulators, and I've totally loved the experience of flying a real plane. So next, Guy Gomez. I think your English is great, strong accent, but your vocabulary is as good as better than most Anglophones I know. Yeah, I know this comes hand to hand with my hobby, flight simulators. There are not a lot of sources of information about World War II in Spanish. So I had a very good upbringing in what regards to learning English. I started learning English since I was a very young kid, maybe 6 years old, something like that. And since I was 18 years old, most of what I know today comes from reading, writing, participating in forums, writing articles even. So yeah, actually I know my English is good, written and read English, but my spoken one, I lack practice. I don't really speak that much in English, but I think that this is good for me as well, because I think I'm getting more fluent in it. So thank you very much. Next one, Freddy Fastify. Hi, thanks from the Beats from Tennessee, USA. Do you read any history of World War II aircraft? Oh well, of course I do, and not just from aircraft. Any kind of book about World War II I can find, I read. It's my biggest hobby. It's my biggest interest. There are some people who like Formula 1 cars. I just like World War II. What I'm going to do, and inside World War II, the thing that most gets me passionate, of course, is fighters. But I read a lot about everything: tanks, ships, submarines, actual strategy, history of strategy, why different campaigns succeeded or were a failure. So yeah, I read a lot about World War II. And if so, there are any books you would recommend to your subscribers that provide a real history of these planes in perspective? I know of many books about American fighter pilots in the war, but not so much from other nations. Thanks, and I hope. Okay, so you want to know about books that cover a very wide scope. Well, yes, for that kind of thing, I will recommend you the books from Alfred Price. Alfred Price is an author who basically put out encyclopedias of warplanes of World War II. and I think I have 3 of those for British planes, German planes, and American planes. And in each one of those books, you can find every single fighter, or bomber, or trainer, or recon aircraft, whatever. They are all in there, with a brief or very long description, depending if the aircraft was very important or just a side note in history. So I really recommend those Alfred Price's books, just for the kind of thing you are looking for. Vince was here. Congratulations. Hey, thank you, mate. This is the guy who made the intro, by the way. Vince was here. Shadow Visigoth. I'd like to know what you plan on doing with your channel in the future. Are you interested in different games? Well, when I started it, I just wanted it to be about War Thunder, and I intend it to be that way, and probably it's going to stay that way. About interested in different games? Yes, I am right now. Well, I mean, right now I got interested in another game. The thing is, that game is not released, and it still is a long way to be released. I know a lot of you guys are aware of the existence of Chris Roberts and Star Citizen. I'm not a really huge fan of the Wing Commander series, so I don't really look forward for that. But a couple of days ago, someone told me that there's a new Frontier, a new Elite, and that really does interest me a lot. You know, well, I like a lot. Well, you can see I like physics. I like a lot. I like it a lot, and I even studied physics for a while. So Frontier for me, Newton and physics and all that kind of stuff, I really loved it. So yes, I'm interested in that, but it's still a long way to come. A long way to go, sorry. Carol Wolf, Pap. Very welcome, mate. You're quality, so of course we watch you. Wow, thank you very much. Hot Rod Batran, we thank you for a good job done. Well, it would be worthless without people watching, so I guess it's a mutual thank you here. And a question about training crew: what skills should be primarily increased on different kind of planes? Good question, and I didn't touch it until now, and it's a very important thing. Well, as you say in your question, first of all, gunner skills have nothing to do with your forward firing weaponry. That just shoots as you shoot. The gunner skills are for gunners, not for pilot. This is very important, so don't waste your XP on gunner skills if you are in a fighter. Good way to use your XP in planes: reload and repair. At least to 25 both. Reload, you want to have as much as the faster reload you have, the better. And repair, because when you come back to base to repair, you don't want to be stranded there for a minute, so someone can come and strafe you. So yeah, those two are vital. And then into the proper pilot skills, I would say G tolerance and both vision skills, because with those your vision range increases a lot and your situational awareness becomes much better. So in that order: reload, both visions, and then repair. ISO 3913. I have landed next to the fleet. I think it was 2 cities map, and I kept floating next to the seats, but I couldn't repair. I assumed they were just destroyers. Do you know where the carriers at? There are no carriers in 2 cities. There are battleships. I think you can repair float plane in 2 cities. In port map, yes, there are carriers and you can repair there, but in 2 cities I don't think so. February 36. I think these are answers to a previous question. Okay, let's go. Oh, ISO 3913 again. Great tips, thank you. I was browsing the forums and came across this informative post about ace pilots in World War II. And what do you know? It was you posting. Oh well, I do like posting, yes. First, what's my first languages? It's Spanish. I'm Spanish. Is it possible to repair flying boats during a round? Yes, it is. Oh, actually, I see where this is coming from. Yeah, you have to land or sea. You have to land besides a carrier, and actually be very close to it. The thing is, as I told you, in 2 times you can't. Wish you could cover bombers soon. Eventually. As I said, it's not the focus of this series, but eventually, don't worry, I will. Thomas Srosinski. Well, I hope I say that the right way. First of all, I want to congratulate. Thank you very much. Second, all questions which I want to ask was were already placed by others. Oh, yes, I thank you, message. Well, you're welcome, mate. Thank you very much. The Hangover Hamster. The game is great, but I feel the British underpowered early game, and as that's where I am. No, I disagree. I really disagree. The British have a very good level 1 fighter, which is the Gladiator. It's a very nice biplane, to be honest. And the reserves are pretty much normal. I mean, all the nations have more or less the same reserve planes, except for the Soviet Union. Those are very good. As for the level 2 and 3 Hurricanes, I know they are limited. They are not very good fighters, but as soon as you hit level 4 and you get your first Spitfire, you are going to love them. And from then on, they are all amazing fighters, believe me. Just bear on, just hold a bit and wait for level 4. From then onwards, they are very good. And the Hurricane is not a great fighter, but it's not bad either. The Germans have it a lot worse, believe me, because the Italian planes are worthless, other than the Falco, which has more or less okay. And the tier 1 to 3 German planes fighters, the Henkels 112, are terrible. So believe me, there are other nations who have it worse. Negros 83. Oh, this seems to be an answer to another question. Okay, Fenris 86. Thank you for making your so many great videos. Thank you very much to you for watching. Would be interest me a little bit something about bombers. Vertical sites. Okay. Yes, 2 questions. Bien. Oh, yes. Yes, if you go low, you are going to die a lot, unless you are in a very fast attack plane. Because those can get in very fast, drop the bombs, and get the hell out of there before the fighters really focus on him. If you go in a bomber, you are going to die. So just don't go in a bomber, go in attack planes. For bombers, go high. The higher you go, the better, the more safe you are. You might get unlucky and some fighter come up there and get you, well, but you are much safer at high altitude than at low altitude. I don't think it's that difficult to use the vertical sights. You only have to line up with your target and just shallow and softly line the vertical line with your target, and then just drop the bombs as soon as they reach the crosshair. It's pretty simple, in fact. Sorry. As for the bomb weights, you have to use to kill a certain time. Yes. For battleships, you need a lot of bombs, and they have to be really big. I mean, here I'm talking about 500 kilograms or more. For pillboxes, I think you can crack them open with a 250 kilogram bomb, but you need a direct hit. A near hit miss doesn't work. With a 500 kilogram bombs, a near miss is going to blow it up. And there are no really other stronger things than those. A heavy pillbox needs a 5 kilogram bombs, or for a near miss, 250 for a direct hit. Light pillbox I think needs 100 kilogram bombs, and all the rest of things with 50 kilograms is enough, tanks included. You need direct hits, that's true, but you can crack them open with 50 kilograms. As for ships, a destroyer with a 250 kilogram bomb, direct hit is going to go down. Carriers take a lot more, I don't know exactly how much more, and battleships take even more. Again, I don't know exactly how much more. Yeah, Land 575. What is the best playing game mode on Nation to play Lions easy? Arcade, Russian, lower tiers, reserves, and level 1. If you get good, and you keep a good situational awareness, I've made games of 60,000 lions in that mode, and not like in an exceptional game. I regularly get more than 40,000 in those kind of games. Why? Because the Soviet reserves are spectacular, and they rip open other reserves. So yes, that's the best one. Other than that, I say historical battles and German. The problem is historical battles really reward you a lot more, gives you a lot more of money, but also penalize you more, because if you lose your plane you're going to pay a lot more repairs than in arcade. So you have to focus on stay alive more than on killing targets. On that level it can make you a lot of money, a lot. Frying Pan 311. Hi, great videos, thank you. When War Thunder brings out the tanks and ships for people to play, do you think you will play planes, tanks, or ships the most? Planes. I love planes. I'll be derping around in my Focke-Wulf 190 until the world ends. As for other things, I will also play ships. I'm very, very, very interested in ships. I like battleships a lot. I like naval tactics. I like naval strategy. So yeah, I will play as well that a lot. And tanks, well, I played World of Tanks for a good while, 2 years. I have 7 tier 10s, I think, in that game. And I was, I'll say, decent, or a little bit decent in that game. I'm not going to say I was good. I was okay, I guess. I like tanks. I like tank games. I like tank tactics. I like anything that has to do with World War II, and that includes, of course, tanks. But in a game that gives me the chance to fly fighters and ships, tanks is going to be last in the list. That's the way it's going to be. Of course, when the time comes, I'll play tanks for sure. If anything, because I plan to have this channel running even then. So I'll have a tanks section also, and I'll put up tank videos as well. And well, I actually know about tank tactics and Second World War II tanks, so I actually think I could also help with that. But between the three, the most I'm going to fly is I'm saying it. The thing I'm going to play the most is planes, followed by ships, followed by tanks. And here comes our last question. Johan Lee. Hi. Since the forum wiped out our posts, yeah, that's true, and I don't really know why that was necessary. They basically deleted the general forum in the forums, and there were a lot of interesting posts going on there. But yes, they did. I wonder if I could continue asking my question from that. Why say Focke-Wulf when any good woman summer? What's the essential fighting style difference between the Focke-Wulf 190 and the later BF 109? Thanks. Well, actually, I addressed this in the forums. I guess you didn't get to read it because the forum got deleted. Okay, to understand this, first you have to understand that in World War II era fighters, there are two very distinct classes of fighters. There is the angles fighter, and there is the energy fighter. And inside the energy fighter, there are very different planes as well. But let's get started with the angles fighter. Sorry. The angles fighter is a plane that turns very well at slow speeds and is very maneuverable at slow speeds. A good instance would be the Kai-43, the Japanese Zero, the Spitfire in most of the marks, and biplanes, for instance. Those turn very well. An angle fighter, what does is to kill the enemy by winning angles on him, which means turning closer, getting his nose pointed forward of the enemy, shooting that way, and hitting the enemy and killing it. That's a style of fighting, that's anglers fighting. Then there's a whole different style of fighter, which is the energy fighter. In an anglers fighter, you turn a lot to win a gun solution. In an energy fighter, you don't have to. The energy fighter, what it does is to use his ability to keep energy or to build energy very fast to basically avoid having to turn. This might seem a little difficult to understand at first, but it isn't. Just go to the plane reviews, take a look at my P-47 review. There's a part of the video when LA-5FN, the Soviet plane, comes up for me, but I basically go up until he's hanging on the propeller, then I come down and kill him. There's no turning involved. What I used was my extra energy to keep me away from his guns until he was hanging on the propeller, and then go down and kill him. That's an energy fighter. A fighter that uses energy to kill enemies without turning. They can turn, they can use energy to close a turn, for instance, but they don't have to. They aren't forced to. They are tactics to kill enemies without actually turning. That's an energy fighter. Now, what I said before. Inside the energy fighters, there are very distinct groups as well. There is the very heavy fighter with attributes for a very heavy fighter. Heavy fighters all have very bad climb rates and accelerations, but as you saw in my first school lesson, they dive and zoom very well, and they keep very well the energy they have. And there's a whole different level of energy fighters, which are planes that, thanks to a very powerful engine and not being that heavy, what they have is the ability to accelerate super fast and to climb in sustained climbing in very, very fast. What this means is that one group of energy fighters keep their energy very well, but they don't build it up very well. And there is another group of energy fighters that don't keep the energy very well, but they build it very fast. So in the end, the difference between the 109 and the classic Focke-Wulf 190, the A series for instance, is exactly that. The Focke-Wulf 190 A is a boom and zoom plane. It's a heavy plane. It has a powerful engine, but not enough to compensate for its heaviness. And as such, it keeps very well energy in dives and zooms and high speed slashes. On the other side, we have the 109. The 109 is light. As it's a very light plane, it's not really good at keeping its energy. It's not good at diving, it's not good at zooming, but it's very good at building its own energy back, which means it accelerates very well and climbs very well. The tactics for both groups are totally different, are completely different, and they have some common points between them, but they are very different. I'm not going to go in depth into this because this is part of what I'm going to explain in the school series, and I don't want to rush it. I want this to be well understood. But basically, that's the difference. One is a heavy plane that doesn't build energy very well, but keeps it very well. The other is a lightweight plane that doesn't keep energy very well, but builds it super fast. And the reason when I was saying in the forums that the Focke-Wulf 190 D9 was the amazing plane it was, is because it actually kept all the boom and zoom abilities of the previous Focke-Wulf 190s, but it had a super powerful engine with more than 2,200 horsepower, which more than compensated for its heaviness. So that plane actually could build up his speed very fast. Not as fast as a 109, but very fast. So it was a very complete all-around energy fighter, and as such, that's the reason why it's thought of as the best or one of the best energy fighters ever. at least in what regards to propeller engine planes. So, well, those were all the questions, which were quite a lot. I'm very, very surprised. I didn't expect this much. I hope I solved your questions, your interests, and that this was informative for you, that you had a good time watching the gameplay, which I think I stated before. In any case, I'm going to leave the gameplay until the end of this game you're seeing. And well, I think that's all for tonight's special. 329 thank yous for all of you. Thank you for making this channel what it is. I saw a lot of you guys thanking me for doing these videos. These videos would be worthless if no one was watching them. So thank you for watching. Have a good one, fly safe, and see you later.
Attacking our base. Reinforce our defenses. Do something fast. The enemy will win. has proven stronger.